Did you know that the shape of your crystal has a lot to do with the energy that it carries? Well, it does. Hello, and welcome to episode 25 of the Wildflower Woo Woo Show. And today we're going to explore crystal shapes, and this is in our crystal manifestation series, which we're doing the whole month of January. And thank you for joining us today. Last week we had a big snowstorm and winds really high, like 65-mile-an-hour winds. So we actually weren't able to air last week. So thank you for your patience and joining us this week. If you're watching now, you can just type yes in the comments that you're with us. You can always type in there where you're joining from. If you're watching the replay, type replay in there. I'm Michelle Wildflower, and like I said, I want to welcome you here today. I am the host and facilitator for the Women's Empowerment and Spiritual Awakening Retreats. And this year will be our third year actually hosting the retreats. And we've made some incredible connections and met some amazing women. Some of the connections that we've made were so strong that friendships were made from them, and we still keep in touch. And so the people that you meet at the retreat might not just end up being people that you spend a weekend with. It might end up that they are truly lifelong friends. And if you believe in woo-woo and all that, then maybe that's why the two of you ended up at the retreat at the same time, was so that you could meet in this lifetime and share that friendship. So at every retreat, we tell the participants to bring a crystal with them, their favorite, which a lot of times people are like, how could I pick? I have so many favorites, which I get. So sometimes people bring more than one of their favorite crystals to the retreat. And at the end of the retreat, we make a beautiful crystal grid that's specific to all of our intentions, and it just kind of joins that connection and unites us all and helps us to all set our intention for the future that we're going back out into. The sacred space that we create, this safe container at the retreat, sometimes it can be a little, I don't want to say overwhelming, but sometimes it can just take a little bit of time to ease back into the flow of real life after being at such a relaxing retreat with like-minded women who are spiritual, and everybody at the retreat spiritual and having fun. And so sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to ease back into our normal society. And having your crystal that's charged with all the beautiful women that you just met is something amazing that you can hold on to and just meditate with, or just carry with you, just to remind you of the beautiful weekend that you had and the friends that you made. So, have you ever actually used any crystals in your spell work? And did you know that the form that the crystal holds actually is another way to harness these energies that crystals have? Some people are aware of their ability to heal, but weren't, and able to amplify your intention, but weren't actually aware that the shape that the crystal has actually holds a specific quality to it as well. And for example, geodes, you know how they're kind of like, everyone knows what a geode is, right? It's kind of like round and has crystals in there. So today I want to talk about 4 different crystal shapes. And like I was saying, geodes actually can kind of catch energy and hold it there, releasing it slowly. So that's one of the qualities of geodes. And crystal spheres like this one, this is a really nice one. Crystal spheres are actually sending energy out in all directions. And sometimes people use them for gazing, or if you, or scrying, it could be called as well. And if you just kind of stare into it, and sometimes people think that meditation could be a challenge for them, but if you have a tool like a scrying ball, people can gaze into it or scry. And like I said, crystal spheres are shooting energy out in all directions, and they're used as a window to the past or the future so that you can see what's already happened or what's to come. So I like to put them in the middle of my crystal grid and set my intention, and then I believe that it's shooting my intention out in all directions. And then points actually will focus your energy into a beam, so you can kind of see that. And it doesn't even matter what size point or what, shape, honestly, as long as it's like has a point on it. Points are actually focusing energy into a beam. So that's what they're doing. And like I said, there's all different shapes and sizes of crystal points. And we're not going to get into it today because you could just go on about crystal shapes and sizes for so long. But even actually the shape of the window of the crystal and how many sides there are have a lot to do with its energy as well. But we're actually not talking about sides today. We're talking about shapes, not facets. And so lasers, these are like a laser wand, and quartz wands actually emit positive and negative energy and are able to sharply focus energy. And you can either use them to stimulate parts of the body if you were using them for healing. And if you pointed it inward, that would be helping to draw energy into you. And if you pointed it outward, that would be drawing negativity away from you. So if you were using it for healing and someone had pain or a condition or tumor or, any kind of issue in one specific area, then you could use the crystal wand. This is a really beautiful one. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there's actually a lot of rainbows in there. Like I said, I don't know if you could see. But so you could direct it away from the energy if the person was laying there, and that would help to draw off any kind of negativity. And that'll help to focus the energy where it needs to go. So, and the shapes of the crystal grids that we make have a lot to do as well, because there's so many different crystal grids, right? There's like the Flower of Life, there's Metatron's Cube, there's so many different crystal grids. And if you're not sure which one that you would really like to use, if you wanted to make a crystal grid, you could always look that up. There's all different ones that you can use, and each one of them, what shape you put your crystals in your spell work actually has a lot to do with how you're harnessing that energy as well. So there's so many things to factor in, right? First, it's like what kind of crystal it is. Then it's like what shape it is. And then if you're using it for a crystal grid, then it's like which crystal grid you're going to use. So there's a lot that goes into it, but honestly, it's all real simple and easy. And if it seems like it's too much, then don't let it be for you, because any kind of spell work that you're doing is supposed to be joyful and make you happy, not something that stresses you out and makes you feel worried and stressed out that maybe you're not using the right tool. Ultimately, it all comes down to our intention, right? And these are just tools that we use to help our unconscious mind or our subconscious mind to help focus that energy. But ultimately, really all we need is our mind and our thoughts. We could set our intention by using affirmations. You could just hold a crystal if you wanted, and any crystal that you held would help to amplify your intentions. But if you just want to be specific, we were just trying to hone it in and narrow it down for folks who want to get real specific in their spell work. How does that sound? So I think that was about all the shapes that I wanted to talk about with you today. I mean, you could talk about crystal shapes for hours, right? There's so many different shapes, clusters, and I can never say it, like specters. They're like kind of like look like a wand, but then it kind of like comes on top of it. There's just so many different crystal shapes, and I wanted to just tell you about 4 of them today, just to make it a little easier for you to remember. If you start small, then it's easier for your brain to remember. And we have a few different retreats coming up this year. We're actually hosting 5 retreats this year. The past few years, we've only done 2 a year, and they were all for women. But we decided to open it up and make some of them all inclusive, so all are welcome. We will still have the 2 women's retreats a year because that's what our original vision was with the retreat, so we'll continue to do that. But like I said, we have 3 other ones that are for all, and one is in April, the beginning of April. There's actually 2 in April. One's in the beginning of April for the solar eclipse. There's not going to be another one of those eclipses for about 20 years or so. And our venue is right in the path of totality, so we'll have an amazing view of it. So that's one, that's April 5th through the 8th. Then we have a crystal digging Rockhounds Dream Getaway crystal digging retreat that's in Arkansas. That one is the weekend of 4/20, so it begins April 18th and goes till the 22nd. And all of these are all inclusive. They include lodging, all the meals, any workshops are included. They all come with an activation spiritual toolbox, which has all of the necessary components to access your spirituality and open the door to it. And there's a tarot cards in there, and a rune set, and gratitude journal, and a crystal, and just quite a few things. I don't want to go on too much about that, but yep, there's a lot of good stuff in there for your spirituality for you to explore. And there's usually chakra cleansing that it happens at most all of the retreats. Like I said, all of the meals are included. Those are all fresh, organic, and vegetarian. Then we'll have our women's retreat in June. In August, there's another one that's open to all, and that's the Alleviation Retreat, which is a restorative retreat that is will have many different healing modalities there for you to experience. So if you're someone who is suffering from adrenal fatigue or burnout, or someone who has a condition that's looking for alternative healing, that would be a great retreat for you, because there'll be many different healing modalities, like I said, for you to access at the retreat and enjoy. And then in the end of September, we'll have the other women's one, and Terry Bowden will be at that one, as well as the one in June. And so will Michelle DeRosa from Spreading the Cheer. That's her group. Sorry. It's Michelle DeRosa Healing and Coaching, and she's an amazing sound healer. She'll be joining us. And Terry Bowden is the evidential medium that can actually draw your spirit guide for you or your loved one. She can not only communicate with them, but she's an amazing artist as well, so she can draw a picture of them for you. And I said to my husband, do you think it'll be weird for me to host retreats that have men there too? Because I just have never done that. Like I said, this is our 3rd year, and they've always been women's retreats. But then, I thought to myself, what kind of guy is going to sign up for a spiritual retreat? It's got to be a pretty cool guy, right? So we had our first gentleman sign up for the astrology retreat, which is in April. And as a little gift, he actually sent me this catalog, which I write about biodynamics in my biodynamic gardening in my book. And so it was really cool that he sent me a biodynamic calendar. Can you see it? It's all about biodynamic gardening, and it has all the different days in there. And I've had pocket ones before. So before I go garden, I'll check in my pocket calendar and see what day it is. But this one is so cool that I can put it up on the wall. So I am not even wondering what it's going to be like hosting men at the retreat, because I think that this was just an amazing sign from the universe that we're going to attract some amazing men at the retreats, as well as amazing women, and everyone else who's wanting to join us. All are welcome. So we're all inclusive. It's not just one-sided, and we would love to have you join us. You can find out more about the retreats at naturesmysteries.com. And next week's episode will also be about crystal manifestations, and that will be next week. Usually in the winter we have a bi-weekly schedule, but because we missed last week, we will actually be airing next week. So we'll look forward to seeing you next week on episode 26 of the Wildflower Woo Woo Show. And thank you so much for opening the door to your spirituality today. Take care.